Hello everyone, it's Brian here in Toronto, and I'm back after a family camping trip. Actually, I should call it a family and friends camping trip. It was actually quite good. The weather was okay, pretty good. It was a little cool one night. The worst part is that on the first night it rained pretty much all night, which was kind of dispiriting. Some water did come into the tent. I've sealed the seams, but that happened last year too. Now, anyone who knows me will not be surprised to hear that, because I have this curse that has been following me my entire life, and that is that when I go camping, it rains. And you might think I'm exaggerating, but I have a friend who pretty much refused to go camping with me after a few years. He actually left the country now. He's living in a different country because he can't go camping with me. Once we were driving up to Tobermory, Ontario, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. Blue skies, lovely day. And as we got closer, the clouds started to move in. We were getting near the campsite, and the dark clouds were gathering. We were setting up the camp in the drizzle, and by the time we would have been, setting up the barbecue or whatever we had to cook with, it was a downpour. Another time, we just had to give up, and we ended up in a hotel. So that's pretty sad. I once drove out to Prince Edward Island, camping in various cities along the way, like Quebec City, etc. And it rained at every stop. I was packing away a wet tent into the car, which is an awful thing to do. Setting up a wet tent. Gross. There was so much rain in Prince Edward Island that some families ended up sleeping in their cars at the campsite because their tents were not standing anymore. It was just so awful. Once I drove all the way through out to Ontario, down past 1,000 Islands, through Vermont to the Boston area. Same thing. Just relentless rain. So, as I say, certain people won't camp with me anymore. But on the other hand, if you live in a place that has a drought, all you need to do is buy me a plane ticket and a tent, let me set it up, and it will rain, guaranteed. So, a lot happened while I was away, including a contest announcement from Steve at ATWAS, All the World's a Stage, and he had this really interesting idea for an acronym contest, which I think is actually a really good idea. But, I was one of the winners of Steve's last contest. So Steve, if you're watching, if I win, I'd like you to give my prize, if I win, give it to MGK Boston. I think he would appreciate it. I think he'd enjoy the victory. So pass it along to him, because I was lucky enough to win your last one. So anyway, 3 records, 3 titles, 3 songs that have an acronym in it. And I'm going to start with a really obvious one. If you've watched my channel, this will be no surprise to anyone. This is OMD, which stands for Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. The funny thing is, if you actually find early press coverage of this band, the press used to refer to them as OMITD. So using every letter, or every word of Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. So OMITD. And at some point, that acronym became abbreviated to OMD. I don't know how that happened, but it seems more concise. Some of the records don't even say Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Like this one only says OMD. By the way, this is a 2022 record, live at the Royal Albert Hall. A triple vinyl set, which I guess was available on CD. Here is an insert. And this is a record, for some reason I got it and didn't include it in a recent finds video. I don't know why that was. And it's on orange vinyl. So that's a pretty good live retrospective covering, I think, pretty much every era of OMD. Second record is essentially half of Steely Dan. It's Donald Fagen. This is a Nightfly. This is renowned as being a really excellent sounding record, and I would agree with that. And looking at it now, I think someone should make a thread about record or album covers with turntables on the cover. That would be interesting. So this came out in 1982. And the first track on side 1 is IGY, which stands for International Geophysical Year, which ran from mid-1957 to the end of 1958. And I'm going to refer to the Wikipedia because it says, also known as the Third International Polar Year, it was an international scientific project that lasted, as I said, from July 57 to the end of 58. It marked the end of a long period during the Cold War when scientific interchange between East and West was seriously interrupted. So apparently 67 countries participated in this, without China, though. So here is the lyrics. You'll see that IGY here, International Geophysical Year. the refrain in here is, "What a beautiful world it will be. This will be what a glorious time to be free." And it's an optimistic view of the future. It talks about, for example, an underground rail link between New York to Paris, which would apparently take 90 minutes. Also talks about like solar powered cities, and there'll be spandex jackets for everyone. Well, that's very optimistic. Maybe that one has come true. And the third one is from this EBM band called Front 242. This is official version. First track, you'll see there is WYHIWYG, which I believe is a kind of take on WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And I'm assuming that it's what you hear is what you get. I haven't looked it up. The lyrics don't suggest that at all, but it can't be anything else. And as I say, this is like a really interesting EBM, high energy kind of electronic band, which I've always quite liked. On the Network label out west, which was a very, I don't know if they're still around, a very cool label. Anyway, so if you're familiar with WYSIWYG, WYSIWYG editors, which were, these young people won't know what I'm talking about, but in the past, I won't even say what it meant, but look it up if you're interested. So anyway, that's Front 242 with What You Hear Is What You Get. And so that's it. I encourage people to get on this contest, and I hope I win so MGK can have some joy in his life when he gets my prize. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.